Hello there, people of the internet. I'm out here on the range today with two 1858 new model armies. So I have a new video for us to enjoy today. Anyone who knows anything about these old revolvers know that they are in fact cap and ball. And anyone who knows anything about cap and ball revolvers knows that cleaning them afterwards is annoying. Cap and ball revolvers are black powder, and all black powder is corrosive, so you have got to clean your firearm after you use it. The corrosive elements in black powder are basically salt, and salt on metal causes metal to rust. So anytime you go using one of these bad boys, you gotta clean it. I like using black powder just because it's a fun, what would I call it? A fun retro experience, especially out of something like a revolver right here. These obviously are not original. This one right here is made by Pieta, and this one's made by Brescia, however that is pronounced. This one right here actually has a conversion cylinder inside of it, and that is what we are going to be talking about. So normally with your black powder cap and ball revolvers, you have a cylinder that does not come out unless you plan on, disassembling your revolver. But you have a cylinder that you pour X amount of powder in. For these right here, I'd say probably about 25 grains or so of black powder, depending on what it is that you're using. You put your bullet in, you can turn your cylinder by putting your hammer to half cock. Use your ramrod right here to ram your bullet home. This one in particular is a little stiff, but you ram your bullet home with your ramrod just like that. You put a little, whatever cylinder I was just using, you put a cap on the little nipple right here on the back of the receiver, and then that cylinder is ready to be fired. Then you can go ahead, cock your hammer back, take aim, pull your trigger, and fire your black powder round. Now, after you do that, like I said, black powder and the black powder fouling is corrosive, and you will have to clean your gun. I think it's a very annoying process. People have been trying to make non-corrosive black powder substitutes for a long time, still haven't managed to pull that one off yet though. However, anyone who does not want to go through the process of having to load 6 cylinders of cap and ball revolver and then have to clean the revolver afterwards, I mean, it's a fun time if you enjoy doing it, and personally I enjoy doing it. I literally just clean my guns whenever I'm sitting back watching YouTube in the evening. It's just what I do. But if you don't feel like doing that, they do make modern smokeless powder cartridge conversion cylinders for your firearm. Now, this particular one, since this is a 44 caliber black powder handgun, takes 45 long Colts. Now I know what you're saying, or potentially you're not saying this at all because you already know the answer. How is a 45 round going to fit in a 44 revolver? Well, the 44 revolver is actually a .454 chambering, and the 45 actually shoots, this particular 45 shoots a .452 caliber projectile. So the projectile is actually smaller than what you would normally use in these revolvers by about 2/1000ths of an inch, which is enough to, it's not enough to cause any problems in terms of like gas getting around them, or not engaging with the rifling or becoming inaccurate or anything like that. It's not enough of a decrease in size to cause any real significant problems. Now, loading these cartridge revolvers, these cartridge conversion cylinders, is a little tedious because technically you have to like disassemble your revolver in order to get inside of this conversion. Now there's like Richard Mason's conversions and whatnot that have like a side loading gate, and if you really want to go ham on your revolver and make a true conversion for the revolver, then by all means you go ahead and you can do that. But the conversion cylinder itself, instead of having nipples, percussion cap nipples on the very back of the cylinder, what it instead has is 6 individual firing pins that you can go ahead and load up and utilize. Now these do not have any safeties or anything on them, so if you have all 6 chambers loaded and you set the hammer down, then the hammer is going to be resting directly on the back of a primer, and that causes safety issues because if you bump your gun, you risk that primer being set off, and you definitely do not want that. So I always load with 5 rounds, even if I'm out here on the range, because boxes come in 50 anyway. I always load with 5 rounds, and this way I can have 1 empty chamber that I can use to put the hammer down. Now all you do is you just kind of take your cartridges, you drop them into your cylinder right here, you put on your firing pin rotating mechanism, I'm not sure what you call that, the back plate, and then you just put the cylinder back inside of the revolver. Now depending on the revolver that you're using, these are, I mean, you can find these in like 1851s and 1860s and open tops and whatnot. Depending on what the revolver actually is for most of the part, you do still have to take apart the revolver in order to actually put the conversion cylinder in. You know, you got to take out the conversion cylinder and you got to load it and then put it back into the revolver. There is no loading gate here, and the back of the revolver is closed off from the back plates on the cylinder, or the back of the cylinder is closed off from the back plate on the cylinder. So there's no way to load cartridges in from the back without taking out the cylinder and loading it outside of the revolver and then putting it back in. That's just the nature of the beast for these really easy conversions. I mean, you can go full ham, you can get yourself a loading gate system, and you can get yourself, I mean, there's all sorts of things that you could do to convert these revolvers, but for the most part, this right here is good enough for me because it's just going to be a range toy. And now I can shoot these old school black powder revolvers without having to actually clean them afterwards. Now this ammunition that I'm using is actually a cowboy load by Steinel, however that's pronounced. And it's an underpowered load, and it is a strictly strictly lead projectile. Your cap and ball revolvers are designed for lead projectiles. That's just the nature of the design of the beast. And since they are black powder revolvers, you don't really want to run anything real heavy in them. That's why cowboy loads and whatnot typically tend to be a little less powerful, a little less potent than your traditional loads, your more common loads, your modern loads. That's what I'm trying to say here. 45 long Colt can be an incredibly potent round, and this right here, although it is a modern manufactured revolver made with modern steels and whatnot, it still is black powder, and you don't necessarily want to push this thing to its limits. The cylinder itself, which is the pressure bearing, load bearing area of this particular revolver, or revolvers in general, that right there is made of a much stronger steel than the black powder cylinder that originally came with this gun, which is why this is able to handle smokeless powder pressures. Now that being said, I have a couple of rounds in this thing. This right here is a Brescia revolver, and this right here is a Uberti cylinder, so it doesn't quite match up. And if you see me cock the hammer and then turn the barrel a little, or turn the cylinder a little bit to lock it into place, that is why. It's not quite the proper timing. But I am out here, I have 5 rounds of 45 long Colt. I do not expect myself to be able to hit my target there, but by God, I'm gonna try. I think I actually hit it, yeah. I see it off in the corner there. I'm not the best shot with handguns, but even with me not being the best shot with handguns, I can already tell that the conversion is not quite as accurate as just firing the black powder rounds through this thing. I think that has to do with the slightly smaller bullet that is being sent through this thing. I don't believe it's quite engaging the rifling as effectively as a properly sized bullet would. But it is enough to be a range toy. It's not exactly inaccurate, but it's not exactly a sniper rifle either. I'm not sure if I hit that one or not. It's hard to tell sometimes because, well, honestly, I can't really hear the steel whenever it's clanked. I think I hit it that time. I think I heard the clink of the steel whenever I smacked into it. Now, these old school cap and ball revolvers are known for hitting high, so I am trying to aim towards the bottom of the target there, and we're gonna see if we hit it. Nope. That one I missed. There we go, I smacked it that time. Wow, this aims exceptionally high. I was aiming, hell, 6 inches under the target with that last shot. Let me go ahead and load us up another 5 rounds, because I want to try that again, see if I can get a few more hits on target. But now that I know just how high this thing aims. And that's just the nature of these old cap and ball revolvers. They tend to aim, or they tend to hit higher than the actual point of aim. In this particular case, it seems to be like over a foot that this thing is hitting. So I'm actually going to go down there, see where the hell I hit, because I was aiming about 6 inches under the target, and this is only at about 25 or so yards. So my guess, I think I see the dark spot, so it seems to hit over a foot above point of aim. Let me go grab some more ammunition and we will go ahead and test that again. Okay, another 5 rounds. Go ahead and pop this right into the cap and ball revolver, just like before. Close it on up, and there's our empty chamber. Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and, just like before, aim like 6 inches under that target, because that's whenever I heard the positive clink of steel. And looking at it, I see in the top right corner we have a smack on that steel silhouette. So I'm thinking that this thing right here shoots exceptionally high. So let's go ahead, take aim, pull the trigger, and hopefully we make at least one more shot. Aha! Okay, I have confirmed that it does in fact shoot exceptionally high. Like, I think that my Carcano, however you want to pronounce that, does not shoot as high as this thing. Rough estimations, I'd say freaking 18 inches or so high, because now I'm aiming about a foot under the target, and we're hit about center target, approximately. Ow. That one didn't feel right. Okay, let's go ahead, send another round. I got some, like, hot oil and whatnot in my face on that one. Not quite sure what the story behind that one is, but let's send another projectile downrange. There we go. Oh yeah, we're smacking it. We're smacking it good now. Okay, I have my point of aim. I think that was a hit. I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes whenever this steel's getting clanked, because it's literally just like I have it leaned against the car there. So sometimes it clanks really positively, but if it's like leaned all the way against the car, then it will just make a real light clink sounding. I think that's what we just heard. Let's send another round here, see if we get a more positive clink from it. Yep, there's our more positive clink. Okay, so I did not think that this thing was going to shoot as high as it was. I figured it would shoot high, but I did not think that it was going to be shooting as high as it is. Because Jesus Christ, guys, I'm like aiming so far low, I feel like I'm doing something wrong here. I'm aiming, yeah, probably about a foot under that target, approximately, rough estimations. It's not like it's freaking, I'm not going to take measurements like a 11.792435 inches diameter, centimeters. But I'm aiming quite a bit under that target, and I can actually see where I'm hitting. I'm hitting actually a little bit above center target. So this right here does seem to hit exceptionally high, but like I said, that's just the nature of the revolvers. That's not necessarily anything to do with the conversion cylinder. The conversion cylinder does seem to be functioning though. So hey, if you want to get yourself one of these conversion cylinders, very literally all I did was I took out the old black powder cylinder, one second, right here, cap and ball black powder cylinder. Literally all I did was pull this down, half cock to where you can rotate your cylinder. Oh, depending on how your revolver's taken apart, I know the open top revolvers are taken apart a little bit differently. Pull this cylinder out, and then you grab your conversion cylinder and you slap it in. You want to get a conversion cylinder that is based off of whoever the manufacturer of your particular revolver is, because not all revolvers are made to the same spec. I'm just happy that this Uberti one works in my Brescia revolver. I'm not sure if they're related companies or not. I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell me, but I couldn't take a Uberti and put it in a Pieta. It just wouldn't work. As a matter of fact, I tried. The Uberti cylinder is just a little bit too big to be able to fit in the Pieta. If you took a Pieta and tried to fit it in a Uberti, then it'd be a little bit too loose. The tolerances wouldn't be safe. You definitely wouldn't want to fire it. So make sure that if you do decide to get yourself a conversion cylinder, you are getting it for the manufacturer that it is that you actually have. Or you could be like me and have multiple different manufacturers and multiple different revolvers, multiple different calibers, multiple different everything. As a matter of fact, I have several more Revolver videos that I'll be bringing you guys, but I wanted to go ahead and bring this out. I have made videos on these before, these black powder cap and balls. So I went ahead, I thought about just getting myself another black powder cylinder, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get one of those conversion cylinders and just have a 45 long Colt revolver. Even if it does shoot like 1.5 feet high at 25 yards, I don't think I'd be able to make any real hits at any real distance with this thing. I mean, if you aim at someone's second head, then you might hit them in the top of their first head. So I don't know. I'm not sure what the situation with that is going to be. I might do some work on those sights, see if I can get that a little bit better than what it is, because I have several different revolvers that hit like right at point of aim, and this one right here is definitely not one of them. This one right here is actually a better point of aim than this one right here, but if you look at the front sights on the actual black powder, the still black powder revolver, this one is a Pieta made, it's actually taller than the front sight on the Bercia 45 Long Colt one. And as a result, you would hit more to point of aim with the Pieta one than you would with the Bercia one. Now that's just me complaining. I mean, it's a smaller front sight and it sits lower. And as a result, the gun shoots higher. I'm willing to bet that I could get myself a taller front sight for that. I think I'm probably going to do that down the road. Anyway, folks, this video got a little bit rambly, but it was still a really fun video to make. So I'm going to say thanks for watching. Let me go ahead and show you guys how to actually unload this thing. Whenever you have expended all of your 5 rounds of ammunition, what you're going to do is just, come on baby, don't be like this. Ah, okay. You're going to not have the ramrod in the cylinder, which will stop you from actually, you know, cocking the hammer on your revolver. You're going to put your hammer to half cock so your cylinder rotates, gets that little arm out of the way, and you are going to pull your cylinder from your revolver, your conversion cylinder. And now, just like with loading it, how you open it up and you just toss your rounds in, you are going to unload it using, well, I just kind of use gravity. That gets most of them out. Get out of there, you. There. Hold on. More familiar motion. Come on, baby. All right, well, obviously we have one stuck there. And you can use basically anything to get it out. What do I have on me that I can use to get this out of here? I don't. Let me try seeing if I can get like pressure, like air pressure to blow it out. That didn't work. And that was very salty. Let me find a stick. All right, good news. Here, living in the woods, I was able to find a stick, and I should just be able to, yep, poke that thing right out of there. Just like that. And now I have my shell casings. Now, I like revolvers because it's easy to get your brass, and it's easy to get your brass so you can be able to reload it. Just like that, you have an empty cylinder. Now I got 5 empty brass cases that I'll be reloading down the road. If you reload for black powder revolver conversion cylinders, remember to use lead bullets, because that is just what the design calls for. And just like that, now my revolver is empty, and I think I'm going to go ahead and not load any more rounds, because this stuff's kind of expensive and I don't have the dies and whatnot I need to actually reload it yet. Emphasis on the word yet. So, like I was saying, thanks for watching, folks. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, do me a favor and like the video. That definitely helps out with the algorithm. Description down below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go ahead and go check that out. And I'm gonna go get some B-roll footage and something to drink, because Jesus, I'm freaking thirsty out here talking as much as I am. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day, and thanks for watching. I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garrett. It's a shame that bolt action shotguns aren't more mainstream.